So good morning, everybody. Tuesday morning. Thanks for jumping on. We got some new people on here. If you can, turn on your camera. Just participate with us. It's always good. Whatever. We'll take 45 minutes, an hour here, get things going. Tina, I don't know if you can turn on your camera or not, but welcome. Tina is new to EXP, so it's great to have her with us. She's up there in Fort Collins getting things kicked in. If you're with another company outside of EXP, you're always welcome. We do this every Tuesday. Just open it up. Good value for everybody. We've been doing this now for coming up on a year. It seems crazy. We've done so many of these, but every Tuesday morning, open to everybody, all agents, all companies, just, growing our businesses with real estate. So, anyway, Mike Rozenboom, it's good to have you with us. Mike has been a realtor for 18 years, dad, husband. How long you been married, Mike?
24.
24 years. There you go. Congratulations. It's awesome.
You were a kid.
So anyway, he's going to go into some things here today. We'll open it up along the way for comments, questions, whatever. I'm going to let Mike kind of take it over here, but tell a little bit of your story real quick, Mike, and then jump on in. We'll get things started. Appreciate you doing this, man.
Oh yeah, this is a lot of fun. So yeah, I started in real estate, like you said, 18 years ago. I started, some of you guys may know Jay Nelson. And usually when I say that, people go, oh, yeah, I did. I started with Jay Nelson, and that was a really good experience. He was a good friend of mine, and just worked through, was with him for a couple of years, on my own for a while. And I have a passion. So I've been around, and we'll kind of get into this in the training, but I've been around a lot of high producing agents in my career. And I've seen what they do, and I'm like, you know what? I want to do my own thing. I don't want to be huge. I just want to do my own thing, spend time with my family. And so I kind of have a passion for agents who are selling 5 to 10, maybe 15 houses a year, but they want to get to up level to like 25, 30 houses a year, because anything beyond that, and you're probably going to have to start hiring people. You're going to have to start getting a team, and that's great. Like there's agents on this team that do that. But I'm like, I just want to be simple. And so I'm a simple guy. And so that's what you're going to get today. Simplicity.
Love it.
So, and I got to meet Sean. Sean, I don't know if you remember meeting me, but I met you like right after I started EXP like 5 years ago in Orlando.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, this guy is amazing. So it's good to kind of, connect with you guys back again. So I'm excited about that.
Feel the same way. Thanks for doing this.
You got it. So we'll jump in. We have a lot of people on this Zoom who sell a ton of houses. And so I'm just going to put them on the spot. Like Jeff Morrell, for example, your best year, about how many houses did you sell?
I mean, personally, I think on my own, I ended up building a team. With my team, we were doing about 200.
200
as a team.
Unbelievable. And I know, like Tim, I see Tim Hollingdale. I know you're like, where did he go? Is Tim still on the call? Yeah, Tim Hollingdon.
Tim's in and out. Yeah, he might not be able to get on there and talk.
He's same kind of deal. Sells tons of homes. And I'm telling you, I've been around these guys, and it can be intimidating, right? And you're like, man. And Jay Nelson sold a ton of homes. I was in the office with a realtor. He was the only realtor in Tennessee who sold $1 billion in real estate in his career. And it was wonderful to be around him. But I'm like, man, it seems like these agents walk on water, right? It's like everything they do, it's almost like miraculous what they're able to accomplish. And that's the best way I can describe it. So if you're on this call and you feel like you are a mere mortal, but you want to walk on water, is that possible? Is it possible to walk on water? We're going to get to that in a minute. Before we get there though, and have the chat opened up, if you can, it's on the bottom of the screen. It says chat. So open up the chat. I want to ask you guys, what do you think the value is of a good idea? Okay. So we're going to talk about some ideas here in this training. But I want you to think like the value of a good idea, like having an app with videos or pictures and they just disappear. Snapchat, whatever. Dude comes up with an idea to, have snacks that are higher in protein, lower in sugar, calls them kind bars, and it blows up. Like the pet rock, for those of you who go way back. I think that dude made like $4 million. So, I mean, if you just added up, money, like what do you think the value is, the financial worth of a good idea, and just throw out, and there's no right or wrong answer, but just throw it out there, put it in the chat, put a dollar value on a good idea. I'll wait. Infinite. Good answer. Priceless, priceless. I like the priceless. Nobody wants to put a number in because they're not sure yet if I'm setting you up. If I'm setting it up, or if you're like, okay, what is he doing here? Okay, I'm totally millions. 1 million, Kathy Carter, totally setting you up. So, but I have a friend of mine. He's an entrepreneur, and you can hire him if you'd like. He's a business coach. For $30,000, you can hire him, and he will train you as an entrepreneur. He has looked at this and he's done studies. He probably got this from someone else, but he said, what it boils down to, the value of a good idea is approximately 10 cents. All of the real money in value is in the execution. Okay. That's where all of the money and value actually comes from. The $1 billion real estate guy, his name was Terry DeSelms, and he did a presentation to us years ago. And he said that there was a study that was done on success, and they looked at 100 successful operations, and they found that the number one determinant of success, and I hated this, was speed of execution, because I am an overthinker. So like, that's one of the big differences, is a lot of people on this call who, we hear a good idea on these calls, and I'll think about it for a couple of weeks, where the people who are selling 200 homes, they've already done it. So speed of execution. So getting a huge ROI in our real estate business seems like it would take a miracle. And you guys remember, or I'm not going to preach, I promise, but the story where Jesus walks on water, and you look at like these agents, like I said, and they're doing 50, 75, 100 plus, 200 plus homes a year. But it doesn't take a miracle to do this. It doesn't take just one good idea. If you're mere mortal and you want to walk on water, what you need, and I'm going to open up this whiteboard. So do you guys have any idea what you need if you're mere mortal and you want to walk on water? I'm going to tell you. Boom. You see that? You need ice. Is your mind blown? If you want to walk on water and you are just a mere mortal, you need ice. So what is ice? There's actually an equation for success that I believe in very wholeheartedly, and that is an idea plus consistent execution will give you an extreme ROI. Okay. And I'm just going to put like, M up here. It'll look fancier. Mega ROI. So idea plus consistent execution. And by the way, what we're going to do here, I'm going to catch something on fire here in a second, because that'll be fun. And as part of like an introductory thoughts, and then we're going to actually talk about a couple of ideas that I've done or implemented that you can implement. And then we'll have some time at the end for any comments and questions. But just in wrapping this up, but I really do believe in this equation. Okay. Idea plus consistent execution. So what happens though, is we start on something and then we give up. This equation, if you put a 0 in any equation, you get 0, right? So if your idea is a 0, but you try to consistently execute on it, you'll still get 0. Usually the problem though is, if we're all being honest, is it's the consistent execution. So we have an idea, but then we don't consistently execute it, and so we don't get the results that we want. Even if you have a bad idea, I think if you consistently execute it, you'll get something. And I want somebody on this call to do this because I don't have the time or money to do it. But I really believe if you just put an ad in the paper, the newspaper, that said, I don't have a smartphone. I don't want a smartphone. But I am your non-tech realtor. I will come to your house. You will sign stuff in person with a pen. And I will, you don't have to tweet me. I'm just going to be your realtor. I'm your non-tech realtor. You can obviously, term it better than that. I really believe that if you put that ad in the newspaper for 12 months, you could probably sell 6 homes. Like there's people out there eventually that you would reach if you consistently execute that idea. And we all know that's not the best idea, right? We don't want to like be that realtor. But if you consistently execute it, but what most of us do, we would put the ad in for a month and then we would give up. Okay. So there's another way to explain this, and it's maybe a little bit more fun, and that's with combustion. So if you like fire, you know that you need 3 things to get fire. You need fuel, heat, and oxygen. So just like with this, the idea that we have is the stick. Okay, that's the fuel. I happen to have a stick right here, a big log. I've got a big idea. Okay, so, but then you also need heat and you need oxygen, which is the consistency, right? So what we typically do is we have an idea. We're like, okay, I'm going to buy Zillow leads, and we, do that for a little while, and then we're like, that's not really working. So we try something else. Well, maybe I need better technology. This is cool. So we tried to execute in a different way. We're like, okay, we're going to do that, with this zappy thing. And you're like, man, even when I'm adding technology, I'm not really getting the results we need. So we kind of, say, well, maybe we just need to go more old school. We need to go more old school with this thing. And that's the problem. And so we get out and we're like, I'm going to try it this way. And we don't get the results we need. The bottom line is, if we would have just stuck with the execution over time in the first place, eventually we all know that this sucker will light. Now, I'm not going to actually light this on fire because I'm in my office and I have my desk, but you get the idea. A lot of times what we do is, as agents, is we get what we call shiny object syndrome, and we keep changing things up because we think, oh, Zillow, it wasn't, we tried Zillow leads. It's not Zillow leads. We need set schedule, or it's not set schedule. We need Op-City. It's Op-City leads are better than Zillow leads. So we're going to do Op-City leads. And the bottom line is, the problem wasn't the idea. The problem is we never consistently executed on any of the ideas that we had. And see, Reg, no, I don't want to start it on fire. Oh, you only see the whiteboard? You don't want to see me. I'll close the whiteboard. So there, see, oh, are you not seeing me try to light it on fire? I'll do it again. You get the idea. Thanks, Mark. You get the idea. So we keep switching from different ways to try to start our ideas on fire, but we don't consistently do any of them. And that becomes a huge problem. So I think that was my introduction. I think that was it. That was good. So now we can move on to actually talking about some ideas that you can execute. Before I do, does anybody have any thoughts or comments on the equation I.C.E? And so make sure you write that down, because I believe that equation works. If you are having trouble in your business, test it against that equation. Look at your idea. Look at how well you are consistently executing. And if you have an idea and you are consistently executing it and you're not getting an ROI, then your idea is zero. Just move on to something else. It's no big deal. But the likelihood is, for most of us, it's the consistent execution that we're lacking. Any thoughts?
Totally agree. Anybody want to open up your mic?
Yeah.
Because I think, go ahead. Who's got it? Somebody opened up.
I was just going to say, I agree too. I think that when you said the shiny object as realtors, I think, we've all been, if we've been in this business for any time, we are all guilty of that, right? It's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And it's all that whole analogy you just laid out is just so true. We all just think it's the next best idea. It's the next best idea, and if consent, I mean, everything you said, like all of it works. It's just pick something and stick to it.
That's exactly it, Kathy. All of it does work because you probably, if you're hearing it on one of these calls, somebody's doing it. So it works. I just heard, it might've been on this call too, the Google reviews. Somebody was using Google reviews as like an idea. And, it's like, that's awesome. Like, and then he's gotten like millions of impressions by doing Google reviews, but he takes pictures and then he puts his information, how you can, that he's a local realtor and you can contact him in the Google review. I don't even know if you're allowed to do that, but he does it. And it's like, wow, that's so cool. But of course I haven't done it yet. But the point is if you did that consistently over time, you're going to get impressions. Most of us just give up before we do it. We give up before we actually get to what they did, which is doing it over time.
So key. There's been lots of ideas. I mean, the year that we've done these, I mean, if you look back over just the catalog of all these things we've done, I mean, so many great ideas, and it is really easy to like, oh, I'm going to do that one. But then it's like next week, here comes another one. Next week, here comes another one. And, again, I think, find something that resonates with you and just do it. What's that saying out there? What's the best CRM out there? The one that you use.
Right.
Right. They're all good and they all do some really good things. I mean, a lot of us use KV Core, but there's so many of us that we just haven't taken the time to really learn KV Core. Well, KV Core doesn't work. No, KV Core works phenomenal. If you just take, seriously, like really like take a couple days, take a week and just dive in and learn it and then apply it, it can become, you could get 50, 60, 80 deals a year with your KV Core. If you just do it right, there's people doing that and more. They're getting thousands of leads, annually through their KV Core system, but they've learned it. But that would be the same for Top Producer, any of the ones that are out there, all these different things that are out there. But you just got to find something to land on it.
Top Producer, you're dating yourself.
I'm going way back. Yeah. Is that even around anymore? I don't know. 20 years in there. I never used it. I used Agent Office. That's what I had. I had Agent Office.
Somebody, they might still be, it might still be a thing for sure. Somebody right now is Googling, ooh, I need Top Producer. That's
one thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah. One thing I'll add though is, like there's all these ideas you're talking about, Jeff and Mike, there's all these ideas. And if and I know you're going to go into a couple of specific ideas and and you are so consistent in your business, every year, you're doing that 25 to 30 houses every single year. You make a good income for your family and you're able to spend time with your family as well. But if agents on here will just pick one or two ideas or three, and what you're talking about, Mike, is so key. And so many times I think in training, we skip the piece of it, but it all comes down to the implementation of it and the consistency of it. And it's like, just pick something, pick two things, stick to it, and don't give up, because they all do work. It's just you got to get good at those things and more importantly, consistently. Like you said, I love that I.C.E acronym.
Consistent execute. And I'm actually really bad. Like I've been successful, like selling 25 at the last 4 years. I think 5 years now, I've averaged 25 homes a year and it's been great. But I'm actually bad at like being consistent. So that's why I preach it, is because I need it. But the things that I do consistently, I'm going to talk about a couple of them here. But I will tell you, the trap is trying to do a whole bunch of things like Kathy said. Just pick a few things and do it consistently over time. And I promise you, it will work out and you will say. Now, again, if you want to be great and sell 50, 100, you're going to have to up your level in a lot of different ways. But if you want to sell 25 homes a year, all you have to do is consistently execute on a couple of things. Just pick a few things and consistently execute them, and you will absolutely get to 25 homes a year, especially if you're taking care of your past clients, because then they'll start feeding you. So
let me jump in real fast, Mike. Just something. Craig, can you unmute yourself? Do you mind? There you go. Because I clicked on your link that you put in the chat down there, Atomic Habits. The Audible book, which is funny because I have the book on my Kindle. I haven't read it yet. I'm always buying books and stuff. Have you read the book?
Yes, I'm actually
What?
reading it again. It's an excellent book. So
Okay.
it kind of, what you're talking about, Mike, is it made me think of that book because, the whole premise of the book is atomic, right? What do you think when you think atomic? Like think big explosion, right? But it starts at the molecular level, really
Amen.
tiny changes consistently over time makes a massive difference. So I put that in there because I thought it's a great, fantastic book. I'm reading it again. It's a really good book. So
That's awesome. Yeah, nice one to touch on it because when I saw you put that in there, it reminded me. I bought it on my Kindle probably 6 months ago. I haven't read it. Yeah, I mean, I got it.
And I thought it was, I
Right.
feel kind of stupid, but I kind of like it better. I thought it was C-Reg. When I saw Craig, C-R-E-G-G,
That's
C-Reg.
great.
What's up, C-Reg?
Craig's here in Colorado Springs.
that's my rap name.
That's right. Your other gig. So if you want just a couple of things to do, I'm going to offer 3 different ideas that are super simple because I don't like complicated and I don't like spending money. One is reaching out to your past clients and your sphere. And this was given to me by a mortgage guy that I love. And he said, he calls it the easiest phone call you'll ever make. Because most of the time we don't pick up the phone because we don't have a reason to. So, a couple of my gals are on the call and they're going to do this. So, because you want to, anytime you do something, you want to add value, you want to strengthen relationships. So it's real simple. And I'm just going to pick on, I don't like role playing, but I'm just going to pick on someone here. We're just going to role play together. We'll both look silly. How about Vicky? Do you want to roll? So I'm just
Sure.
calling you, Vicky. The phone call looks something like this. So you're going to be one of my past clients. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Vicky. Mike Rozenboom here. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing so good. Hey, listen, Vicky, I'm not going to keep you long today. I was just wondering, do you have an insurance agent that you absolutely love?
I do. Yes.
Awesome. Hey, listen, I need their name. Would you mind sending me their name and number? Could you text that to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. And what's their, do you know their name offhand? What's their name? Who are they with?
Caitlin with State Farm.
Oh, sweet. Okay, awesome. Listen, I'm putting together a vendor list to
Mhm.
give all to my past clients. And I just really want the best on there. So shoot that to me and I'll give them a call. And I really appreciate your help on that.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
remember, I'm doing that past client event in December. I love seeing you last year, the movie. We're doing it again.
Oh, yeah.
And so just be looking for that invite. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye-bye. So if she said yes, then you get the name. And then your next phone call would be to the insurance agent. And you call the insurance agent and you say, hey, you'll just be like, hey, we can role play that as if you're, what did you say that it was Caitlin? So now you're Caitlin. Okay. So ring, ring.
Hey, this is Caitlin.
Oh, hey, Caitlin with State Farm. Mike Rozenboom here with eXp Realty. And hey, listen, we have a mutual client named Vicky, and she said you're awesome. She
Oh,
said she
yeah.
absolutely loves you.
Yeah.
So that's always good to hear, right?
Of course, yes.
So, I'm looking to refer out some business. And so I just wanted to get with you. Maybe you want to grab coffee? I just kind of wanted to talk business. Do you have time
Sure.
to grab coffee
I can do
later
that.
this week? Cool. So then you just set up the coffee meeting and you go meet with him.
Yeah.
Because you want to figure out,
Mhm.
so, okay, thanks, Caitlin. That's good. I'm good. Goodbye. So then you go and you meet coffee because you might have a really great connection with this agent, right? Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, it's going to be no. So we'll role play that real quick again. So now you're Vicky again. You're doing amazing, by the way, Vicky.
Oh, thanks.
So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Vicky, Mike Rozenboom here, and we'll kind of skip through. Do you have an agent that you absolutely love?
No, Not right off. Like I have some that, I've used, but nobody in particular.
I get it. I get it. I mean, I've been through a lot of agents over the years. Well, listen, that's great because I actually have an agent who I really, really love. And I know it's been about 3 years since y'all moved in. And so I was just wondering, I was talking to him the other day and we were just talking about inflation and just how like costs are going up. And we're like, what can we do? So a couple of people have already gotten their rates lowered. And so I'm just calling my past clients and seeing if we can save them some money. So would you be okay if I had my guy call you, see if he can save you some money?
Sure, why not?
Sweet. I mean, I know it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, because you got to kind of go through the quotes and everything, but he's really good. He's an
Right.
easy guy to talk to. And he literally just wants to help you guys see if he can lower your insurance cost. Save you
Okay.
a couple bucks. So cool. So I'll have him reach out in the next couple of days. And then just remember, December is coming up. We're doing that client movie again. So that was a lot of
Oh.
fun. We're doing it, and I'll have to look because I'm stepping out of character. I don't remember what movie we're doing this year, but I would tell them what movie we're doing, and be like,
Right.
okay, well, listen, I'll run, but if you need anything, let me know. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Vicky. So, and look, there's all kinds of different ways you can tweak that call and make it yours. But the point is, it's such an easy phone call to make. And it has multiple layers of benefits. So the very first thing you want to do as a realtor is you want to connect with an agent who you trust, you feel good about, an insurance agent who is going to make those calls and is going to do a good job with those calls. So that's why you take them to coffee. I wouldn't just personally, because I overthink everything anyways. I wouldn't just do any agent. Like, just make sure you feel good about them. I would also recommend, and this is just me, that it's an agent who can look at, it's not like a captive agent like State Farm, but it's somebody who can look at multiple companies because they're more likely going to be able to save them money.
I have one of those too.
Yeah, right. I figured you probably did, Vicky, but you know what I mean? So, and then here's what's awesome. There's layers to this. So no matter how many yeses or nos you get, you're getting and you're giving value to everyone. And even if they say, no, I'm not really interested right now in kind of doing that, we got too much going on, then just ask them, wow, what's going on? I mean, just talk to them, just have a conversation, reach out to your people, care about them, love on them. If they don't want to talk to an insurance thing, that's totally fine. But it's a point where you can pick up the phone and talk to them and connect with them. Okay. So it works really well. Now, when you send your insurance agent 5, 10 different people, right? For them to call, you just extremely strengthen that relationship. You're more likely to get referrals from them, especially if you work that, business the right way. And then what do you think is going to happen when you send them that business to give those quotes? And then, a couple of months later, when I say, hey, that client appreciation event I'm doing, would you mind, or I'm doing a mega open house, would you mind throwing me some gift cards for that? What do you think they're going to say? Yes, please. Thank you. I mean, so do you see it? There's just a lot of synergy with that phone call. And
it's a win-win both ways.
And that's what you're looking for, is easy win-wins. You just got to love on your client. You got to help them and just put yourself in front of them in a way where you were just being helpful. Cool. Any questions about that one?
Just real quick, show of hands. You guys have cameras on. Like, who could do what he just did right there? That was so easy. Seriously.
Yeah. That's why it's the easiest phone call you'll ever make.
Yeah, you can totally do that.
And I'll send you that script. Like, you can use that script kind of verbatim, but it's not, when you're talking, especially when you're talking to your sphere and your past clients, the script just kind of makes you feel comfortable. You don't have to super script it, right? Because it's an easy thing that you're doing. So that's idea 1. Idea 2, I've done this and it works really well, is to partner with a nonprofit that you already love. Okay. And the way this works is you get with a director or someone who's in charge of the fundraising, because it's a hard job. If you already know, if you've worked with nonprofits, it's hard. Like, raising money is always a challenge for them. So just take them out to coffee, and then talk to them about the nonprofit. Like, listen to them, like, hear what their needs are, be interested. And this is why it's important to not just go door knocking on a nonprofit you don't care about. Like, you want to, this is going to be a partnership, something that you're probably already involved in, or something that you wanted to be involved in, that you have a passion behind. So in the end, tell them that you'd love to help. And there's several ways you can script this. If you want to, stories always sell. So you can just use my story and you say, you know what, I'm listening to you. I actually have a realtor friend, a business partner who does this thing. And I kind of want to do it with y'all. And the way it works is anytime somebody who buys or sells a house with me mentions your nonprofit, I'm going to donate when they close. I'm going to donate $1,000 to your nonprofit, and I want to do that with y'all, so there's several different ways you can phrase that, right? You could say, my business likes to partner with nonprofits, or you can just make it personal, or use me, say, man, I just heard this idea and I want to try it, right? But it's real simple. And the way it works is you're just putting it in their mind. If you refer me anybody, or anybody who's affiliated with a nonprofit, like, this is broad. And if they mention, your nonprofit, I'm writing $1,000 check to you guys when they close. Okay. So I did this with an organization called Nashville Notes, and it's a homeschool music program that my kids were involved in. And I'm with all of these homeschool families, and I'm like, these are kind of like, apparently my people. Like, I like these people. We end up hanging out some because, we do go to the concerts and go to dinner. The kids want to go to dinner afterwards. And so we're with these parents, and I'm like, but I'm not getting any business from this. And I'm like, how do I get more involved? So that's what I did. I went to the director, and I'd like to help. So I ended up donating like $11,000 over a few years to Nashville Notes. And so if you think about that, now I was giving a lot more than $1,000, and I think $1,000 or $500 is the right thing to do. I did 20%. So the thing is, they don't know what 20% means. It didn't resonate with her until I sold a $400,000 house, and I was on 100% commission. And so I wrote them a $2,400 check. It was something like that. It got her attention. So yeah, she got a little bit passionate about sending me business, right? But right now, I know I still have like 4 past clients, because that's the other thing about this, is they end up getting into your past client bucket. And so, and a lot of us are spending a lot of time on OpCity or these leads that we have to give 20-30%. And I'm like, what if we could get warm leads? This is what makes this so magical. Is you're only giving up 500 or 1,000, but you're doing it, and you're not giving it to a company, and you're also not having to vet through 100 leads to get a couple of good sales. Like, these are warm leads, and it's so the synergy there is off the charts. But the key is with these third-party relationships is consistent execution. So you can't just have a conversation with the director and expect to get a lead. It just won't work that way. You got to check in with them. You need to be involved with the nonprofit. You need to post about them, do a video about them. But if you do it right, you'll start getting the deals, but you'll get warm referrals, and you'll really become a true partner. Okay. So again, this isn't about chasing leads. It's about becoming a partner with somebody. So any thoughts and I will say this, before you actually structure this, talk to your broker and make sure you get it, and communicate it correctly. I went through this with Garen, went through this, talked to an attorney, and he was like, all you're doing is you're telling people how you are going to spend your money. You're not like, there's no like, so anyways, because I know there's stuff there that you got to be mindful of. But I did it for several years. My kids are no longer in it, but I still have, I showed a house to one of these past clients last week. They're buying another house.
Like it's
Any
that's
thoughts on that?
that's what it turns into. Next thing you know, you're getting multiple referrals from those people.
So it's the gift that'll
Done.
keep on giving if you touch and take care of your past clients, which that first call was one of the ways that you can touch and take care of your past clients.
That's a great idea. And I think, especially like right now with inflation being what it is, the economy, people's, one of the first things that people start, doing. I mean, again, we start pulling in our money a little bit. So donations always goes down.
That's
They
true.
always go down, like whatever church donations go down, nonprofits start hurting and they start laying off people, like, all that kind of stuff, So again, any ways that we can get, like, it's a perfect time to reach out to some of those people and go sit down for a coffee, learn about what they do,
That's a really good point, Jeff.
and partner up with them.
They're yes, because that's going to be a thing for the next couple of years, probably.
Most likely.
So they're going to be mindful of that, and they're so going to appreciate it.
For sure.
I want to give you a quick example of third-party relationships and something that I failed miserably at about 12, 13 years ago. So, because this is a story that kind of really highlights what not to do. So about 12, 13 years ago, was on my own, but had like a business partner that we did some marketing with. I was with Remax, and we had both sold a couple of homes for a big builder. It was Fox Ridge Homes, which is Ryan Homes, if you've ever heard of them. Pretty big builder nationally or whatever. And they had about 5 communities in the Nashville area. And so we knew the sales manager, so we swung for the fences and we pitched him on becoming their preferred listing provider for Ryan Homes in Nashville. We thought that would be a big deal, right? And we came up with a program and we had marketing. It was like this cool deal, right? And we pitched it to them at their sales meeting, with the whole company, and they picked us. We were the preferred listing agents for Fox Ridge Homes, which meant anytime someone came to them to buy a home, but the buyer needed to sell a home, they would send it to us and we would partner with them. And throughout the whole process, like we had this whole thing that we would do and how it would work and it would benefit everybody. It was a great idea. Oh my goodness, it was a great idea. It was so good. But we sold like 1 or 2 houses from it, because what we failed to do is we didn't build relationships with the gatekeepers, which are the individual sales agents. So Ryan Homes corporate, locally anyways, we were chosen as the preferred agents, but he wasn't the gatekeeper. The individual agents were still sending the referrals to people that they knew, liked, and trusted. And we weren't smart enough to be like, okay, we just need to be regularly visiting and getting to know these individual sales agents. So then that guy who was the sales manager, he ended up either moving up or I can't remember, he might have, moved to a different company. And so it just became another shiny object that we tried because we didn't consistently execute it with the gatekeeper. And you got to keep that in mind as it pertains to these nonprofits. If you have a good idea and you have a good program or whatever, it makes no difference if you're not keeping the relationship warm. Does that make sense?
100%.
All right. So it's 10:40. I'm going to roll through be as quick as possible. The third thing that you can do that I've done is become the mayor of your neighborhood, or pick a neighborhood and become its mayor. You guys have probably heard this before. I believe there's a way to do it though that will work really, really well. First of all, you want to somehow make yourself visible. I've done that using events. So either a neighborhood movie under the stars or a pool opening party, poolside movies, hosting a neighborhood garage sale. There's any number of ways that you can do things, be active on the neighborhood Facebook page, a turkey trot run. One of the gals in our neighborhood does that. She just puts together a turkey trot run to benefit a charity. It can be the charity that you partner with, right? So, and I'll tell you one thing, you might want to pay for the first event with your vendors, but give a shout out to the HOA. Okay. Get to know the HOA. And you can do, if you don't know who they are, there's usually a sign at the front of the neighborhood of who the management company is. Reach out to them and just tell them that you'd like to email someone in the HOA, or door knocking. You'll figure out who they are. Get a little bit of a relationship. I say this because I've done this in 3 different neighborhoods over the years. In every single neighborhood, I've done an event. I've made the HOA look good. In every single neighborhood, they pay for at least half or all of the events that I put on. And I'm very upfront with them that I don't overtly advertise myself, but I'm very upfront with them that I'm doing this, out of my business, because I want to get my name out there. They don't care. They love it. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Here's one of the keys to doing this, though. You have to get everybody's email addresses. Okay. The purpose of doing an event, you have to think about, how am I going to get people's email addresses? Okay. And you tell them that you're going to update them on events, and you're going to make sure they have neighborhood sales. Okay. So if you do this, you don't have to spend a lot of money, because postcards can get costly. And as I said before, I don't like spending money. You have to keep your name in front of them, because I've done it all kinds of different ways, guys. And just like I failed at Fox Ridge Home, I have failed. I've done events and everybody loves me, but then they don't use me because I didn't do a good job keeping my name in front of them when they were going to list. Conversely, also in one neighborhood that I did this, I think there were like 17 sales that I had like 9 of them. Okay. So if you do this, you get your name out there so they know you and like you. You have to then have your name in front of them. And the best way to do that is to get their email addresses and then send them monthly neighborhood sales, because that's helpful to them. They're curious, so they're going to open it. And if they are thinking about selling, they are absolutely going to open that. If they haven't opened it for 2 years, and most people do open this stuff because they're curious about what their houses in the area have sold for. I do think it's important. KV Core will send area, and maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't use that because I think it has to be just the houses that sold in the neighborhood. So I have to use my MLS, and I do have to actually create a little report. Don't do what I do and overthink it. Just send them something that is neighborhood values once a month, because it's your name and then it's neighborhood values. And what does that say? But you are a realtor who cares about the neighborhood. So that's what you have to do. QR codes at the event. Absolutely. Love that. What was I going to say? It was going to be really, really good. Oh, you can also use BombBomb. You can do it through KV Core. I think you can sell do 10 a month. I don't know about that. I do pay for BombBomb, but I put a video with it. Okay. So it's just me in front of them very quickly saying, hey, these are the homes that have sold. This one sold for this. It's easy. Okay. But it puts your face and name in front of them. So you have to consistently execute that. No surprise. Then when you get a listing, overdo it. Door knock, mega open house. Make sure your name is plastered everywhere, tons of signs. If you don't like doing big open houses, like I don't really like doing big open houses, if you're doing it in your neighborhood, it's non-negotiable. You got to do a big open house and get your name out there big. Does that make sense? So that's it. I mean, if you do that consistently for 6 months to a year, you just end up being the guy.
That's awesome.
And you don't have to do a ton of events. Don't get hung up on that. I do think it's important, though, to do a few events, 1 a year even, but just do some things that has you attached to being likable and investing in the neighborhood. Does that make sense? It doesn't really matter what the event is. Because even if nobody really comes, if you've invited them, they've at least seen that you are doing something. Does that make sense?
Bring a food truck out.
Yeah. Food trucks.
Or an ice cream, whatever. We have a neighborhood pool. I don't know. It's
Yes.
end of summer stuff. Get the ice cream truck to come and just advertise that on a Saturday. Send an email to everybody and free ice cream, and it costs you, $100.
Yep. And
Whatever.
then you can. It's the call reluctance thing. I'm doing an event a week from yesterday, Monday Night Football. Don't do what I do. You don't have to get crazy. I actually have a big blow up screen and I've got a projector, all that stuff. So it's easy, but I'm going to do Monday Night Football at the pool. I'll have some people bring some fire pits or whatever, and I'll serve hot dogs. So But the only reason I'm doing it is because I need to door knock my neighborhood again. And I don't want to door knock my neighborhood. So I'm door knocking my neighborhood so I can invite them to the event. And then I'm going to get their email address. Everyone I door knock, I'm going to say, hey, by the way, let me get your email address because I'm sending neighborhood values every month. And, you know, I just want everyone to know what the values are doing. Everybody's curious about what neighborhood values are doing right now. So it's easy. They want to know. That's it.
That's awesome.
That's all I got.
Mike, another thing, one of the things that you've always done so well that I've always thought is you do with that blow up screen you've got in the projector, you do movie on the lawn once in the summer, don't you, every year? It's a big ordeal that you do.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I did several of those, and that's how I got started, you know, doing this years and years ago. But I hired somebody, it cost like $400, and they came out and set it up. And then I had a lender I was working with, and he got me into doing a whole bunch of like bigger things. I've done some cool neighborhood parties, I'm just going to say, but I'll tell you, those cool parties are not as important as just doing something and then consistently executing with getting your name out there with neighborhood values. That actually works better. And I could show you, like I've done some cool part, but that's the shiny object syndrome to an extent, because you can get fixated on doing this such a good party that everyone's going to use you, and it doesn't work that way. But I do think it helps to do something to connect you as someone who adds value.
That's awesome. Mark, and I apologize, you had your hand up for a long time.
I didn't see that, Mark. I had that screen covered. Before Mark asks this question, Mark Cairns, icon agent, awesome friend. I love Mark. Mark Cairns should have taught this class, but go ahead, Mark Cairns.
So my question is still relevant. But through the I.C.E, you, at the end, you mentioned to test it, you know, so that's where the real kind of the magic is. So you can have these ideas, you can, consistently execute, and then you got to measure it and see how you did, because you know, because a lot of times you'll do something for a short period of time, you'll like, I didn't get anything from it, so jump on. But it's good to come back and test it and then see, was it the idea, was it the consistency, or the execution? And it could be, you could have done all of it good, but it just might not be relevant to the market or to real estate or whatever. But chances are, if you're consistent and you have good execution, it's going to work. So kind of my question kind of to the group is what is, you know, a good test for time, you know, or money or return on investment to come back and say, you know, how did you do? Is it, you know, it's going to be different for different things, but, you know, postcards, those type of things are a long haul. Those are probably over a year. I'm more immediate, you know, red bag or door hang, but I really like the idea of going back and testing it to see how you did.
That's
because,
so good.
And you'll like this. I mean, hey, there's no glory in overspending, but you do have to go back and test yourself and see how you did. Because sometimes the good ideas just kind of way, but you never put any leverage into it. You never put any time into it, and it never got any traction.
And now when I teach this, actually, you just gave me I'm going to separate the C and E, because consistency and execution are actually two different things. You can tweak the way you execute something and add skill to it, add some, you know, even like in the best example of this real quick, and I want other people to chime in, is phone calls. Because when I first started in real estate, I was doing phone calls, cold calling, and I hated it. I still remember the script though. And it was, hi, my name's Mike Rozenboom with Remax Classic, and I saw one of your neighbors just listed, and I was wondering, who do you know that would like click? And I kept getting hung up on. So I was being consistent, but my execution wasn't good. And so we tweaked the execution in how I used the same exact script. The idea was cold calling, the consistency was doing it, but I did tweak the execution, and it turned into, first of all, mirroring. So if they said, hello, I'd be like, hello, this is Mike Rozenboom with eXp Realty. If they said, hello, this is Mike Rozenboom with eXp Realty, and utilizing pauses and changing my tone, like I changed the way I executed and then I was never hung up on again. Now I stopped doing cold calling because I hate cold calling, but I could at least, I learned to execute. So the idea was fine. I was being consistent, but I did have to tweak the execution to end up starting to get the results. So that's good, Mark. Thank you.
I think there's lots of ways I think to test things too. Well, I learned this early on, whatever, like of course I used to use we don't use them much anymore. I think it's a little bit different now, but like we'd have like an 800 number, right? And so every home had a different ID number, right? But I could have up to like 100 IDs. Well, I used to carry about 15, 20 listings at a time, our team. And so, of course, every home had an ID on the sign out in front of the house. We'd run an ad in Homes and Land magazine, same phone number, but a different ID.
Right.
So if they call in on that ID, I know it came in from Homes and Land magazine, not the sign. We would get in the real estate book. It had a different ID. So after a while, you can start testing everything. Well, I'm getting this many leads from this one. I'm getting nothing from that one. I'm going to just stop that one. I put more money into this one because it's working. You could do the same thing with domain names. Very cheap to register a domain name to a page on your website, right? And you can go to GoDaddy for like $9. You can register, whatever, freeonlinehomevalue.com. You could do Colorado Springs freeonlinehomevalue.com. You do all these different ones, but everything you do has a different domain name. This one's pulling in this many leads. And again, sometimes one little tweak in the ad, one different word in the ad, and all of a sudden it brings in 10 more leads. Well, I'm going to run that ad more. I'm going to cut out this ad. So you can start testing different ways. A QR code, like Craig mentioned, like that's another way you can do it. You could do QR codes all over the place. Do you guys know how to do a QR code? Just a simple way to do it. Let me share my screen just real fast, because I just want to show you this and we'll jump back in. There's a website, qr.io. Okay, qr.io. This is just one way that I've done it, and there's multiple ways to do this, but this is just free. So let's say I want to drive traffic to my YouTube channel. Okay, I can go up here and I can copy this domain name from my YouTube channel right out there. Just copy that. And now I put it over here. And here's what it does. It creates a QR code right there. I can download that for free. And now I could put that in an email that I'm sending out, like what Mike said. I could email that. I could do an email out for my ice cream truck coming to the last day of our pool, whatever. And oh, by the way, if you want an online home, if you want a valuation, or you want to, whatever the website might be that I want to get people to come to, I could put several QR codes in that email. Anytime someone goes to that QR code right there, it's going to take them back to this page. And I can do that for any number of any website. This is just totally free. It does it very quick. So qr.io, that's the easiest way I know of to generate QR codes. You don't have to have an account. There's no account here. I don't pay anything for this. I've just got this site saved in my favorites up here. But that's one way to do it.
Can I ask a question on that, Jeff?
Yeah.
So QR code is something I've been looking into for a bit, and I just saved this. Thanks for that. But
sure.
What I found with these, hey, here's your free QR code or whatever. And there's two kinds of QR codes. There's a static QR code, which like you make it and it will go to one place. If you change the URL later, it's done. It won't work anymore. It won't go anywhere.
Right.
But there's what's called a dynamic QR code, where you can actually go in and change, like let's say you put one on a listing, right? 123 Main Street. You could put a QR code on there. Well, you print that out once, it costs money, right? Well, next time you go to 456 Main Street, now that doesn't work anymore. So they have what's called a dynamic QR code. So you can print it once, and now
travels with you. Okay.
Change it to go to 456 Main Street, like a landing page or whatever. But what I found with all of these free ones is there's a limited time. I don't know if this qr.io is the case, but I found that, like I had one where I used it. It's like 14-day free trial thing, and then they shut it off. It's like, okay, well that sucks.
Okay.
And I can never. So have you run into that with this site?
I haven't with this site. No, I haven't run into a time period. There is a difference. If I change something with the domain name or whatever, then that would change it. You know what I mean?
And if I go
It's
a little
static.
further, sorry here, is my brother-in-law, he's like a whiz bang tech genius guy, like when he was a kid winning like science fairs, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Him and I have been kind of working on some stuff where we might create a QR code website thing or whatever. It'll be paid, which most of them are. They do the free, and then it, you know, because like I said, if you go and you print it out and it's good for 14 days, unless you pay them forever, it's gone. So
Right.
we
Right.
kind of want to do a different structure where, you know, it's so cheap, it's not affecting you. Like 12 bucks a year, you can make X amount or however money. But the difference in the way I want to structure this is if you go and you do it for a month and you get X amount of QR codes, they're good forever. As long as our company's up and running, you can stop paying us and you get to keep those 5 QR codes or 10 or whatever it is. The reason I'm bringing that up is, like I said, I've run into where, you know, it's like 8 or 12 bucks, or I've seen as high as 50 bucks a month. But the problem is, as soon as you stop paying them, the QR codes go away. So then it's like, okay, if I print anything or if I have it on a sign or something. So I just wonder if anyone else has run into that issue. And like I said, it's been frustrating because like I get, but it's like I don't need another thing. Like Mike said, I don't want to keep paying for stuff. I don't
Another
need
thing to pay
another
for. Yeah.
app I need to pay for every month. So has
Yeah.
anyone else run into stuff like that where you tried it, but they go away, or you have to keep paying or anything like that?
Anybody doing things with that?
I think the things I've used QR codes for is pretty minimal so far, but I haven't needed them for long periods of time. So that hasn't been, and then I do use the KV Core QR codes. KV Core will let you make a QR code for the property. So it just takes them to they scan it, and I use those at my open houses. You know, scan here. I've got name badge, like the lanyards. I wish I had one, but I have a lanyard that we all wear, mega open house, and has the QR code. So they just scan the QR code and it takes them to the KV Core website.
Yeah.
So it just kind of looks cool because it looks like it's an event or whatever, but I haven't done a lot of
Canva as well. If anybody uses Canva, like to make flyers.
Yes. Yeah. I made it in Canva. That's
I
right.
think with COVID, I think, you know, QR codes have been around forever. My brother-in-law,
Isn't that wild?
10 years, but with COVID, I think they're really starting to come about, and I see more and more stuff happening. But
We all know how to use them now.
Well, because you
know?
don't have to have a QR code reader anymore. You don't have to download one. Your camera,
Right.
most cameras just do it. So it's pretty
Thank
awesome.
you right there. Yeah.
I see it's
Lots of
almost
different
up for
ways.
time.
You could look at that, Craig. I mean, that one side, and again, I haven't used it in big details or all different kinds of ways. And there's lots of different things on there. There's actually a way, there's a paid part of it, but so far I've just done it for free. And
Yeah.
it's there. So I don't know how that works, if they last forever, if there's a time frame. There's probably a way to, you know, contact like support on there and find out what are their plans, if they have plans or
Sure.
whatever. But that's a quick, easy way that I know of to do something, at least for a short-term thing, like an email for a Saturday event or something like
Right.
that. Simple way to do it. So
It's
QR.io.
It's great. And I didn't mean to like bogart this.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're good.
Something, but it's
Oh, I get it.
great
Totally.
thing.
You don't want it to go away if you're putting it on a sign, especially paying $50 for a sign. And
That's just the problem I run into that I'm actually
Right.
trying to solve. So hopefully we can make it work. So
exactly. So any last comments, guys, before we wrap it up? We're right here at the top of the hour.
I'd like
Nancy,
to
go
ask
ahead.
a question. In the very beginning, your past client idea, which I think is great. Do you think that would work with anything other than an insurance person?
Yes. I'm sorry. I should have said that. You literally can do that with any vendor. At tax time, it could be a you know, an account, like any vendor you can think of. And you can also just ask them if they say, you know, no, at the end of it, do you have any other home people that you love? Painters, just tell plumbers, anybody, because you can do the same thing with literally any type of home vendor that would add value.
Awesome.
I think insurance is just easy. It's just
Yeah.
kind of an low hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's simple. I love the neighborhood idea. I love the nonprofit idea. I mean, I think that's a great one. I'm going to talk to my wife about that. And I think that's, you know, we got some things that we're, you know, passionate about helping, but here's a way to really help them,
Mhm.
you know, and get business out of it at the same time. It's a
Right,
win for
right.
both of us, you know, in that sense. We're going to pay them. Why not? I'd much rather pay them like a $1,000 or a
Than Zillow.
referral fee of some sort in that
Right.
sense versus paying some big, huge, giant corporation, you know? So very, very cool. Mike, thank you very much. Totally appreciate you doing it. Great stuff. It's great having you on here every week. Guys, just a reminder, we're doing this every Tuesday. Okay. Open to everybody, all agents everywhere. Invite your friends, get them on here. It's always good. Provide value. We'll be back here next week at the same time. So guys, we're always here for you. All the leaders here and all of us. So if you have questions for Mike on any of this recording will be up on the Freedom Team Workplace page within the next hour. You can comment on there with questions, any files or anything you want to add to it, Mike, you can do that as well. Any scripts or anything like that. If you have something like that you want to, you can let us know. We'll get that added up in there. So I appreciate your time. It was great. It was awesome. Excellent information. Okay, guys, thank you. Have a great week. Kim, real quick, can you unmute yourself? Let everybody know about the concierge hour that you do. Can you tell them about that, times and stuff, so they know?
Concierge Hour Tuesdays and Thursdays starts at 11 a.m. Pacific. And I'm here to answer questions. KB Core, EXP, lead gen, whatever you need. I'm here. If you're using CRM Grow, just come on in anytime. It's kind of like a little genius bar. Come in and ask any questions you need. I'd love to see you there.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thanks for all you do, Kim. Okay. Cool, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Okay. Take care. Bye.